This movie had some trouble with the visual effects from the start. No one liked the original design, but then they went back and fixed it, pushed back the movie, and me and Baby Yoda are about to spill the tea on if it worked. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a brand new movie review. Today I'm going to be discussing Sonic the Hedgehog, which is after discovering a small blue fast hedgehog, a small town police officer must help him defeat an evil genius who wants to do experiments on him. I love Sonic growing up. He was one of my favorite video games to always play, and I loved watching the Sonic X TV show on TV because it was just a bunch of joy, and I love all the characters of Sonic. I've played pretty much every single Sonic game known to man. The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you want to say, I've always played it. And when it comes down to the Sonic character, I've been a big, major fan of him, but when this movie was announced, I was a little bit going, we're just gonna do one of those. Because there are tons of movies in this vein where a cartoon character comes to the real life world and must interact with humans, and when that happens, especially in these modern day movies, they never turn out to be the best. I'm looking at you, Smurfs. Trust me, I'm looking at you, all you Smurf movies, and even like other movies in those veins that have come out in the last maybe 10 years. They just have never truly worked out. Take him out of his own world and put him to an Earth scenario. I just never have thought that it's been the best thing to possibly do. Walking into this movie, I did have that same thing. I'm like, I don't love the concept for this, but I want it to be good. I want to walk out having fun with this movie and putting that grievance aside saying, okay, I'm going to deal with this concept and maybe the movie will surprise me. A blast with Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm actually very happy to be here saying this is a very fun time at the movies, and I think you're about to have some fun too. It's not perfect by any means. There are some imperfections, but I definitely had a lot of fun with it. Of course, though, if you guys are new here and you guys enjoy early movie reviews like this, or in general just love talking geeky content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and I do tons of that on a daily basis over here. Make sure as well to comment down below and let me know, are you guys excited for this one? Are you not? Let's discuss it down there. Before we get any further into this, I do want to say that this is a non-spoiler review. I know it's weird that I have to say that, but there are two major big post-credit scenes at the end of this movie that I saw some person actually leaked out, which kind of sucked. So do understand I'm not going to be talking about those, but there are two major post-credit scenes, so make sure to stay around for both of those. But Sonic the Hedgehog, I've already said that I did enjoy the movie, and I think it is a very fun movie, and I think the best place to start with this movie is to get my imperfections out of the way before I really start boasting about how much fun I had about this movie, because truly for me, when it comes to a children's movie, because this is a children's movie, I go in knowing that it's made for kids, but there should be some fun also for adults, and I think a lot of movies nowadays have been kind of getting that same family mold and being able to make a nice, fun family feature film, which say the last two Jumanjis have had a lot of that. A lot of humor for adults, but a lot of humor for kids. When you look at a lot of the Pixar films, they're the same way. A lot of smaller animated films are kind of starting to go inside this vein, and Sonic the Hedgehog, I won't say does it all the way. I think there are some nice little adult human jokes in there, but also though the main issue with this movie for me is it does get a little bit too kiddie at times, which did take me out of the scenario and roll my eyes at quite a bit of the jokes. And really for me, it's not a game changer for me. It might be a game changer for you, but for me going in, I knew that was probably going to be the case, and it was the case by the end of the movie, but it still didn't take away from my total enjoyment. But I do wish that most films like this would just more try to go for the appeal of a whole family than just more for the kids, because the lowbrowing humor sometimes doesn't work for the adults and kind of just makes me roll my eyes and takes me out of the scenarios. And don't even get me started about the product placement, because wow, it has not been this bad since the first Transformers. I also wanted to say that I don't love the concept of him coming to Earth and befriending a human and them having to go on a road trip, but I do think it works for the most part in here. And while yes, I would have rather taken out some things and added in different things and maybe had all the Sonic characters in here and them all bunching up together, and Dr. Robotnik was already a character in this universe, but I don't want to complain about the concept too much because I knew it wasn't going to be that going into the movie. But again, I know there will be many of you who do have an issue and do take issues with that. With those out of the way though, let's discuss it. So the big thing about this movie was the Sonic redesign. Was it a good thing that they actually went back and redesigned him? Yes, it was a great thing that they did, but I didn't love the original look of him. I actually didn't mind the trailer. I thought the trailer was fun, but I didn't love that first look of him. It was terrible. It was very scary. This new version of him is fantastic. It fits Sonic, it feels like Sonic, and really, it really has to be acclaimed because Ben Schwartz, the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog in here, does wonders with the character. He's very charming, he's very fun-filled, and in fact, he really brings a lot of antics and smiles to not just the kids in the audience, but to the adults as well. This does feel like the Sonic the Hedgehog that you did grow up with. Yeah, he could maybe get on your grievances a little bit, but that's who Sonic is. I've always felt that way as his character, and you do really feel like Ben Schwartz is able to really dive in and really understand his voice and really portray it into a different manner, and the way that they were able to animate him to many of the different sequences are great. And speaking of sequences, remember those Quicksilver sequences from X-Men? They have a lot of those with Sonic the Hedgehog in here, and they're great. Every single time they kick in, I got a giddy smile on my face, and I'm sitting there going, oh, he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it. He's blasting around, shooting around the whole thing, having a ton of fun, and every time that happened, I was like, God, this is exactly what I wanted. I love these slow-mo sequences, and the way that they were able to film it was perfection, and Sonic really has a blast with those. And there are some action sequences as well, Dr. Robotnik, of course, that deal within those, that some, they showed a little bit too much in the trailers, but still, some that really took my breath away and really was a lot of fun. There's one where they're just speeding around, pretty much around the whole world. It's just great. Love that whole dynamic and the way that it really brought in the intensity of that sequence. This movie actually shoots me back to the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s, of those kind of live action movies that do have the cartoon characters. Say, I'm looking at you also, Rocky and Bullwinkle. But it fit inside that vein so much that it really worked and just put a big smile on my face and took me back to the days of when I was a younger kid and really cemented me into those moments and really just feeling like, God, if I was 8 years old, this would have been my favorite movie of all time. And in fact, it's a really fun movie because of that, and the way that's able to take you on this nostalgic field trip with Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, yes, James Marsden is super charming. Adam Pally shows up for a little bit as a kind of dumb cop, but kind of fun. Tika Sumpter is really charming as Maddie, but really the big standout and the scene stealer of all the scenes was Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. I miss you, Jim Carrey. Please do more movies, man. You are so good in these roles, and he just takes it away. I mean, some people might not love what he's doing, but I got a kick out of what he was doing with Dr. Robotnik. It kind of threw it back to the days of him being Ace Ventura, The Mask, or even The Grinch, might you say, and he just does all of his Jim Carrey-isms perfectly while fitting inside the character of Dr. Robotnik. I could not get enough of him on the screen, and him and Sonic's banter is just great, and it really adds to all the dynamics of what makes this movie feel like a Sonic the Hedgehog film. Before I give you my final thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog, make sure to comment down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Are you guys excited for this movie? Are you not? Let's discuss it down below in the comments. And of course, guys, make sure to head over to Samchon Films on how to see films early, because we were giving out advance tickets for movies like this, and I want to be able to give back to you guys. And of course, just a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. Sonic movie throws us back into a charming, fun-filled road trip with Sonic, who's irresistibly great. Truly, though, Jim Carrey does steal the show as Dr. Robotnik, and Sonic fans are going to have a blast with this one. There are, again, 2 post-credit scenes that set up a great future for this, and what I walked out of Sonic the Hedgehog was feeling, I want a sequel. I really do, and I think it deserves one. I think what it sets up perfectly is it's like, hey, this could be the next great adventure, and I think this is great for kids. Adults won't walk out completely pissed off, and I think people who are fans of Sonic are going to walk out with a big smile on their face being like, man, I feel satisfied. Again, I could easily get into my nitpicks with the kiddie humor. I knew it was going to have those, and I could get into the nitpicks of, yes, I didn't love the concept walking in, but for what they had all laid out, it took me back to an early 2000s film, and I actually really like that. Yes, the script feels like it's completely ripped from that era, but I like that. And it just gave me a lot of like nostalgic moments from when I was a kid, and that's kind of what I wanted from this. So with all that said, I'm going to give Sonic the Hedgehog a B. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this movie. Do you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let's discuss it down below, guys. Make sure, again, to hit that like and subscribe button, guys. I'll make sure to catch you guys on the next early movie review. So until next time, stay classy.